What is a thought? In 1943, two scientists, Warren McCulloch and Walter Pitts, proposed a radical answer. They stripped away the messy biology of a neuron and created a simple mathematical model. Their artificial neuron was essentially a logic gate. It listened to its inputs, and if the combined signal crossed a certain threshold, it would fire a single, unambiguous 1. If not, it remained silent, a 0. This all-or-nothing principle was a dramatic simplification, but it was the first time a component of the mind had been described in the language of computing, turning the mystery of thought into a problem of logic. A single neuron, however, is not intelligent. The magic is in the connections. In 1949, psychologist Donald Hebb proposed a simple rule for how these connections might learn. He famously postulated, neurons that fire together wire together. This means that every time one neuron helps to fire another, the pathway, or synapse, between them gets a little bit stronger, a little more efficient. Think of it like forging a path in a dense forest. The first time is difficult, but the more you walk it, the clearer the path becomes. This principle, known as Hebbian learning, is the foundation of how artificial networks adjust their internal weights to learn from data. This idea gave birth to the perceptron in the 1950s, a physical machine built by Frank Rosenblatt that could learn to recognize letters. It worked by adjusting its synaptic weights, strengthening correct connections and weakening incorrect ones. It was a sensation. But in 1969, its critical flaw was exposed. Researchers Marvin Minsky and Seymour Papert proved that a simple, single-layer perceptron was fundamentally incapable of solving a class of problems, famously demonstrated by the XOR problem. It couldn't distinguish patterns that weren't separable by a single straight line. The dream of artificial intelligence entered a long winter. The solution to the XOR problem was to add more layers of neurons between the input and output, so-called hidden layers. But this created a new, profound dilemma, the credit assignment problem. If the network's final answer is wrong, which of the thousands or millions of connections buried deep inside are to blame? Imagine a bucket brigade passing water to put out a fire. If the last person doesn't get enough water, who is at fault? The person who dropped a bucket halfway down the line? The one who didn't fill it properly at the start? Without knowing who made the error, you can't fix the system. The elegant mathematical solution that reignited the field is called backpropagation. After the network makes a guess, you measure its final error. Then you send that error signal backward through the network layer by layer. It uses calculus to calculate precisely how much each individual connection contributed to the total error, and then nudges each weight in the right direction. It works beautifully. But it has a problem. The brain almost certainly does not do this. There is no known biological mechanism for sending such a precise, calculated error signal perfectly backward along a synaptic path. So, how does the brain solve the credit assignment problem? It seems to rely on local rules. One of the most important is spike timing dependent plasticity, or STDP. It's a crucial refinement of Hebb's rule. If neuron A fires just milliseconds before neuron B, causing it to fire, the connection from A to B strengthens. But if neuron A fires just after neuron B, the connection weakens. This timing-based rule establishes a clear sense of causality and information flow, allowing the network to organize itself without a global supervisor or a backward-flowing error signal. This difference in learning mechanism points to a staggering difference in efficiency. Your brain operates on about 20 watts of power, enough to run a dim light bulb. By contrast, a powerful GPU training a large language model can consume the power of multiple households. This is because computation in the brain is sparse and event-driven. Neurons are mostly quiet, firing only a meaningful spike of information when necessary. An artificial network during training is a brute force storm of calculation, with nearly all of its components active at once, performing trillions of multiplications every second. To bridge this efficiency gap, engineers are building neuromorphic chips, processors, designed to function more like a brain. Instead of the traditional architecture where memory and processing are separate, these chips have silicon neurons and silicon synapses that are co-located. Chips like Intel's Loihi 2 communicate not with continuous streams of numbers, but with discrete, brain-like spikes. This makes them incredibly efficient for tasks that brains excel at, like real-time pattern recognition, running on mere milliwatts of power and learning continuously from their environment. In the end, artificial neural networks mimic the brain in the same way a commercial airplane mimics a bird. Both achieve flight, but one uses jet engines and fixed wings, while the other uses flapping feathers and hollow bones. Our current AI is built on a caricature of a neuron from the 1940s and a powerful but biologically implausible learning algorithm. It misses the deep complexity of real brains, the chemical soups of neurotransmitters, the crucial role of glial cells, the computational power of single dendrites. The mimicry is not of the object itself, but of its function, a testament to how a single, powerful idea can be realized in wildly different, yet equally successful forms. Monotony has grown fast. Nearly 2,700 people have watched in the last few weeks, yet less than 0.03% are subscribed. It would mean a lot if you joined by hitting subscribe. And again, thanks for watching.